Hey guys, my name's Tom, and one of the funnest things about being a sound designer is getting to create sounds that are maybe scary or evocative or interesting out of ordinary sounds. So, in other words, taking a sound that maybe isn't scary and making it scary, or taking a sound that is uh, like not emotional and then all of a sudden it's got an emotion attached to it. A lot of that comes from context, but even without the context of a video or a video game, you can mangle sounds to turn them into something that they are not. And that's what we're going to do today. And we're going to do it using one of my favorite methods, which is pitch stretching the hell out of it. And we're actually not going for quality with this at all. We're going for artifacts. We're going for grain. We're going for digital yucky sprites and everything. So I'm going to be in Pro Tools for this, but you don't need Pro Tools for this. You can use any software that you want, really. And we've got a vocal sample here. It's very short. It's 20 frames long. Let's listen to it. Poop. Yes, that's right, poop. We are going to be turning poop into a different kind of poop. It's still going to be poop, but it's going to be scary poop. Right now, this is regular poop, and if you were to say this to a first or second or third grader, they would probably laugh because kids laugh when you say poop. A lot of adults laugh when you say poop. I laugh when somebody says poop, but we want to turn this funny poop into scary poop. How are we going to do that? Well, let's load up everybody's favorite terrible pitch shifter, Avid's Time Shift Audio Suite plugin, which has been around since 1976. We're going to use the worst sounding mode, which is polyphonic, wide, and we're going to be stretching it the absolute maximum multiple times. We're going to be doing this at least 4 times. So set the pitch to 0, leave that alone, but set the time to 25%. We're going to render it. Okay, so now it's a 3-second sound. Let's render it again. Well, now it's a 13-second sound. Let's render it one more time. Now, this less than 1-second sound has turned into an almost 1 minute long sound. And I bet you it sounds terrible. Or it could sound funny. We're going to do a little top and tail fade on it, and we're going to listen to this. So what does that sound like to you guys? I know what it sounds like to me. It sounds like The Matrix. They famously did a lot of time expansion in The Matrix to get a lot of the glitchy, and the green letters are going and it's like the Matrix sound. That's what they did, is they pitch shifted it in 1998 or 99. And with the tools they had at the time, everything pretty much turned out sounding like that. Right now, all we have is something that has been pitch stretched, and it just sounds like a much longer robotic poop, like probably full of metal and stuff. The next step is to add a little bit, or a lot of it actually, of reverb. And let's just use Revibe too. Everybody's favorite Avid is actually a pretty decent reverb plugin. And the key with horror films is reverb. Reverb is what makes things scary. That's what directors always say. That doesn't sound scary enough. And then you add some reverb and they're like, oh, now it's scary. So let's add some reverb. Let's do church or cathedral. What's the difference between a church and a cathedral? It looks like not much. Just make the size big, turn the reverb up. 7 seconds is usually a pretty good area. I like to have more early reflections as a rule with my reverbs. We're already at 100% wet. And then I like to add a little bit of modulation, not much depth and pretty slow. And I think that is pretty good. Let's add some more pre-delay. Let's add that up closer to 100 milliseconds. Now, before I play this back, I know for a fact that when I add reverb, the levels change. Generally, stuff gets a lot louder. So I'm actually going to add a compressor to this. And let's see, what compressor would I like to use? Oh, hey, let's use Auto Comp. This is a nice compressor. Yeah, the guy who made this is he's kind of a jerk, but we're going to use this compressor. So that'll level things out for us, You can go ahead and trim it down a little bit just so it doesn't blow your guys' ears out. And let's give a listen to this poop. So I think that's pretty interesting. Even the P of the poop, I mean, there's two P's in poop. It's kind of a pee poop. The last P in the poop actually sounds almost like a guitar screech, which is really interesting. So yeah, we've taken this little tiny poop and we've stretched it into a much longer poop, more of like a bowl filling poop. And we have, embraced the interesting digital glitches that came from stretching it out and then added some reverb. The cool thing about the glitches is they add a lot of upper harmonic content. So that's why that P sound, let me just play that again. That sounds interesting to me. That sounds like an establishing shot in Blade Runner 2048 and a half or whatever it was. Something that you could slam on a cut and it's like a expansive wasteland of mechanical debris. So those harmonics that were added from the gremlins, the digital gremlins and the pitch shifting are actually really cool. They're actually adding a lot to the melange of sound that we've created. Now you could do this with any sound source. You could do this with a bird tweet. You could do this with you saying all kinds of interesting curse words in other languages. You can really take any kind of tonal thing and pitch stretch it and get these digital gremlins, these glitches. And then once you add reverb, all those glitches get kind of smeared out and create a really interesting soundscape just from something as stupid as the word poop. So feel free to experiment. If you're into sound design, it's really about experimenting and seeing the potential in a sound and knowing how to get from the raw sound to the desired result. So plugins in this sense are your friends, and even some of the cheaper, crappier sounding plugins that come with Pro Tools are great for this because the grit and the nastiness that they add are actually beneficial when you're doing sound design. So hopefully this has helped you out. And, let me know in the comments if you have any other interesting tricks for mangling sound. This is just a little one I was thinking about. There's so many things you can do when it comes to pitch shifting and time shifting to mangle stuff and get it to where you have something that is so far removed from where you started that it starts to become useful for things like horror films or sci-fi. Thank you guys so much for checking this video out, and I'll see you on the next one. Till then, take care.